Hello, everyone. Welcome. How's it going this evening? Oh, okay. So, a few more things I gotta do. Just gotta turn the music off. Pause the music. Pause the music. Yay! Uh, sorry. It's a bit weird because, like, full screen applications and all of that. This gets it's a bit dicey. Why am I speaking with that accent? I didn't mean to. I don't mean to do that. Um, yeah, I'm just kind of making sure that all the notifications and stuff went out. So, hello everyone, welcome in. We're gonna be doing the Fly With Me quest, which is cool. I think it's cool. I think if it's the quest that I think it is, it's gonna be real cool. Where I said that we're gonna do this, and I promise that we're gonna do this. We're gonna beat the quest today. All right. There's no way that we're not. Unless it's like a really long quest that like doesn't end, we're gonna at least get the Repcon building done. That's what we're doing. We're gonna get the Repcon like hub cleared. We're doing it. All right. Yes. Continue. So this is where we were last time. We were in Vegas. Cause I wanted to get over to the boomers, but no, I said last week that we are doing Come Fly With Me. That's what we're doing. We're going to the Repcon test site. Come on, everyone! On our way in. Oh, buff out worn out. Buff out. Buff out worn off. Buff off. Do the buff off. Alright. I don't know what to talk about. You gotta say something, huh? There's a lot of the... Oh, I know. I've been talking to friends today. I just like keep talking. That's all I want to do is I just want to keep talking more and more and more. It kind of gets difficult at the start of stream to talk, cause like you're just starting up. You don't really have any topics. It's just like, hello, everyone. We started kind of quickly today. Quicker than I usually do. Oh, watch this. Watch this. Check this shit out. No head? Yeah! Hey, ghoul. Hey, ghoul. So no head? Yes! Oh my gosh. We're so overpowered now. So why do they just drop caps? Okay, wait, no. I think I have a theory for why they drop caps. In the TV show, the Fallout TV show, feral ghouls are just like the normal ghouls after they like go rapid or go insane or whatever. So the feral ghouls are like, they used to be normal like ghouls and normal people. So, and normal ghouls. Like they used to be... Like, you know how we met the one guy at the summit of the mountain, and he was just a ghoul, but he was just a dude. He just looked bad and is immortal and is a ghoul, you know? So, all that stuff was cool. But apparently in the show they said that those normal ghouls can turn into the feral ghouls, which also kind of implies that the feral ghouls all used to be normal ghouls at some point. I mean... Maybe not. Maybe that's just me kind of saying stuff that's not true. But it seems like... Oh, Med-X. We need it. We love Med-X. Med-X is so useful. Did we go home and set stuff down yet? I thought we might have. But maybe we didn't. Just because, like... You know, we're going new cool place, so there's gotta be some stuff here, right? There's definitely gotta be something going on here that we can see. Also, this time we have game audio. Oh, thank God. I realized last time that we had no audio, no game audio at all. So, cause at the start of the stream I was like, hey, if the Nintendo music is playing, it's kind of jarring to have both of this stuff at once. So I turned it off. Which I should do, right? Because, like, it doesn't sound good to listen to two music tracks at the same time. But, like, I'm just kind of going back and forth while I'm yapping here. Because I want to finish this point. But, like, apparently I forgot to turn the game audio back on when the Nintendo music went off. So I was watching the VOD, and it's just bad. This is not good. Okay, so...
Hey, over here.
You listening?
You listening?
Yes.
Go to the big room on the east side of this building and take the metal staircase all the way up. And hurry. Let's
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. Hurry. So, we have to go. The ghouls are here. There are ghouls everywhere. The creepy ghosts and ghouls. Okay. East side of the building. Take the stairs all the way up and hurry. Oh, wow. Whoa. Whoa. This is that gun. Oh, the rads. Take the stairs all the way up. Is there more stairs? Oh, no. Oh, no. There's gotta be more stairs, right? Oh, employee terminal. Terminal. Public kitchen. Repcon Interoffice Correspondence number 345842. 8342. All Repcon employee from Emelina Mayer, Facilities Manager. Hello everyone. Please remember that the kitchen is a privilege and not a right. Please clean up after yourselves and remember that a clean kitchen is a happy kitchen. Thanks, Emily. Please also remember that any food left in the icebox without a date will be thrown away every Friday evening. So date your food. Date your food. Hey, Sandwich. How's it going, Sandwich? I love you, Sandwich. Let's go out sometime, Sandwich. Is that how you date your food? Is that how you date your food? I don't know. I know that's a bad bit. Remember to date your food. I'm clipping that. That's so stupid that I think it's funny. I like it. I'll like it later. Okay. Every time you see me like pause the game, it's mostly because I'm like, oh yeah, I need that clip. I love clipping. I love having clips, especially because I don't ever make the shorts like I'm supposed to be doing. To all Repcon staff from Steve Reynolds, Launch Facility Project Manager. Greetings, fellow Repcon employees! I'm happy to announce that we have finalized our deal with Robco. Starting tomorrow, we will be an official Robco facility. Most of you won't notice anything different, aside from an increase in benefits. Thank you all for your time, and welcome again to the Robco family. Steve. What is this? It's just like the title was like a keyboard smash almost. To Robco HQ Supply Department from Bill Martin, Repcon Custodian. Dear Robco Supply, first off, let me say that everyone here is really excited about the merger. It's super to be part of a company as exciting as Rodco. Have we got some kinks in the supply chain? Yesterday, a bunch of crates got delivered here containing 2 gross of devices called Stealth Boys. Is it okay if I ask what these things are? Do they really make you invisible? That sounds wild. What will Robco think of next? Let me know if the shipment came here by mistake. No problem if it didn't. I bet you can have a lot of fun with these things. Thanks, Bill Martin. Oh, so that's good lore. That's good lore to know. So apparently all the Stealth Boys that are here, maybe that's what the Nightkin are on? Because the Nightkin are like someone said in chat a couple days ago. Nightkin are the super mutants, but they're addicted to Stealth Boys. Private server access, Piers Isley. Steve Reynolds, Launch Facility Project Manager. From Piers Isley, General Manager. Steve, please make sure your people are ready for the Robco visit. We are down to negotiating on what the project is worth. So, the better that experiment goes tomorrow, the better for all of us. Repcon Inter-Office Correspondence number 3457321. Piers Isley, General Manager. From Steve Reynolds, Launch Facility Project Manager. Sir, I have my team looking into what happened yesterday. I was assured by my best people that the experiment would go off without a hitch. We are starting cleanup of the affected area today, but I'm told it may take decades for the radiation to clear completely. Wow. To Steve Reynolds, Launch Facility Project Manager. From Piers Isley, General Manager. Just make sure that someone is punished for this. This has significantly reduced our position with Robco. I want them to know that we can keep our house in order. Alright. So it's just lore. There's nothing I have to do with that terminal. But we learned some stuff. Also, apparently this place is hostile. Like, real hostile. We gotta be careful here. There could be anything anywhere. Oh, another employee terminal. Terminal? Oh, it's... okay. Stacey Johnson, Junior Engineer. Gordon Pesh, Senior Engineer. Stacey, are you kidding me? You've been planning Martin's party for months now, and you forgot to order the cake? There's no way you are going to find some place to deliver one out here on this kind of notice. Go to the break room and find something for everyone to eat at the party. Gordon. Okay. Strange. Oh, shit. Where's the anger? Where's the anger coming from? I think all of these things just... yeah, they all say the same thing. I don't want to miss anything, though. Where? So confused. Like, I hear the growling and stuff, but I'm so scared of, like, them just jumping out at me. So, oh. Fighting. Oh, shit. What happened? Oh, they came through the door there. Is my leg broken? Hold on. No, it's not? Why do I have a stub? That's so confusing. Martin's retirement. Gordon Pesci, Senior Engineer. From Annalena Mayer, Facilities Manager. Hey Gordon, I was as surprised as you were to hear about Martin's retirement. It seemed that things were going so well. The party sounds like a great idea. I'm sure he'll love to see everyone on his last day. Let me know if there's anything I can do to help. Emily. Alright, so this must be Emily's desk. Or, you know... Whoa, 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 whoa. 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 Eddie. I'm so thankful for Eddie's, like, music. It helps so much. Jesus Christ. They just come out of nowhere, huh? Oh shit, it's glowing one. Oh, glowing one. Glowing one, no head? So no head? Yeah. Yeah, that's what you get. That's what you get. Why are you glowing? Why are you glowing? Only weirdos glow. Only weirdos glow. Oh! Oh yeah, baby. Pump up speech. Wait, didn't we already get to level 16 last time? Huh. I don't know. I don't know. So apparently, like, I think maybe we just, like, maybe we died. Oh, wait, we died. We died to an artillery shell. So, yeah. This is the same thing. It's the same thing. But I want finesse. I was thinking about it. I'm like, no, I want finesse instead. So there are nightkin here. There are nightkin here. We're trying to take the stairs all the way up as soon as possible. But I want to explore more. Repcon basement. Repcon basement. Come on, I want to explore some more. Yeah, let me explore. Let me explore. Let me explore. Oh, the game crashed. Fuck. Hello! You came right in time for the game to crash, Robin. How's it going? Hold on. I'm loading in the game. I'm loading in the game again. All right. Alrighty. Okay, we're back. We're back. We're back. We're back. We're so back. We're so back. Welcome in, Robin. Oh, what? Did the game crash again? What happened? Oh, no, I just clicked off of it. It's weird. Okay. Yes, continue from the last save. Come on. It's all the way back here. Oh, wait. Wait, no, this is the basement. This is the basement. Wait, no, it's not. This is the... Okay. This is the same... We already went here. We already went here. Better off than my situation? Yeah, it gets kind of annoying, but, like, I'm used to it now. It's because... I think it's because my PC parts are a bit weird. Like, I have good parts, they're just not the most compatible. So I think that causes problems with certain games. It's also like an old game. Older game. Get off of me. Go away. We don't want you here. We don't want you here. I'm trying to... They said go up. They said go up to the thing. And so that's what we're gonna do. But stairs. Trying to get upstairs. Oh, holy. Holy. Who's hitting me? Oh, from behind. Hey man, so no head? Bam! So no head? I did it. I'm so funny. I'm so silly. I'm so hilarious. The Brotherhood robe. Right, Brotherhood robe. That's like some kind of new faction I haven't seen yet. Vending machines. Always good vending machines. Vending machines are always fun. You get sarsaparilla. Sarsaparilla is real important. Let's see here. Let's see. Okay, they said just go in and try to get up the stairs as fast as possible. Apparently we've kind of messed up that thing. Hey, get off of me. Get off. Come on. Be good.
What's the problem?
Yeah.
Who I am? Like I said, find the metal
Okay.
staircase in the big room on the east side of the building. It's where they used to make rockets.
Okay. So up the metal stairs on the east side of the building. I know how to get there. I think we're gonna have to level up again. Oh, can't go that way. Where? Oh, hey, Romer, no head. So no head. I'm gonna keep saying that. I'm real sorry for you guys, but it's just like the funniest thing to me. Ah, so no head. Stimpack. B. We love Stimpaks. We already read all that stuff. We already read all this stuff. Was there anything cool in here? No. But I think this is the way to the... Or it is a way to the thing we were trying to find. The big metal staircase. Hi. Oh, yeah. In here. So no head? Come on. Still no head? Come on, do it again. Yeah, still no head? Come on, hit. Hit, motherfucker. God damn it. I didn't get to blow his head off. Boo! I am not offering head. I'm just blowing their head off. And there's like a vine or something that says so no head, and then he breaks his skateboard. And that's what I'm referencing. Okay, up these big metal stairs. That's what the guy said. There will be no head awarded in chat today. I'm real sorry. Eddie is down there dealing with stuff. Eddie, are you alright? You help? There's a glowing one. So no head? Yeah! Yeah. Did we level up? Yeah, we did. Okay. Once again. Okay. Speech it up. You know what? Maybe we should just tag. We should just do tag like we were going to originally. I want good speech. We can get finesse next time. Well, I mean, what is this? That's something we can't get. But okay, whatever. All right, whatever. We'll get tag and we'll go and speech it. Yes, we're at 81 speech. That's so good. Oh no, is this the... He said go up the big stairs. This is the big middle stairs. We went up. Hello?
Alright, Smooth Skin. I'm letting you in.
Smooth
You better
skin.
watch yourself.
Thanks. I work
I'll
hard.
sure
It's just
as hell be watching
moisturizer.
you.
Alright.
God, but are you ugly. Get upstairs and talk to Jason before I throw up just from looking at you.
He's not even...
The Great One can be found upstairs. Don't think about wasting his time. He's very important.
Okay. Get upstairs and meet Jason. Dear God. It's Jason Bourne. Where's Jason? Are you Jason?
Hello,
Hi,
Wanderer.
Jason.
Please forgive us our humble surroundings. Our true home awaits us in the far beyond.
Far beyond.
Have you come to help us complete the great journey?
What's the great journey?
We wish to escape the barbarity of the wasteland, especially the violence and bigotry of its human inhabitants. The Creator has promised to my flock a new land, a place of safety and heat. Preparations for the great journey were nearly complete
This is the quest I thought it was.
when the demons appeared.
Oh, are the demons the Nightkin? Is that what they're talking about?
The means by which the great journey is to be accomplished are an article of faith, not to be discussed with outsiders.
Okay.
The demons appeared from nowhere, except it might be more accurate to say they never actually appeared at all.
Oh no.
The demons are invisible. Where one of them stands, the most one sees is the air shimmering, like sunlight on water.
Yes. Okay, they're all
They
talking
set
about
upon
Nightkin.
us as we were on our way to worship one morning. We had just entered the basement. My flock fought bravely and killed a few, but at such cost. Nearly half of us died or went missing. The rest of us retreated up here. One of the demons raved at us, but they have not tried to attack us since. Still, their demonic presence brought all progress towards the great journey to a standstill. But now you have come. Once again, the Creator has sent a human to help us across a seemingly insurmountable obstacle.
Okay. What, the demons raved at you?
Over the intercom. Threats of death should we step outside. Guarantees of safety. It went on for hours, and did not always make sense. But that was the
Okay.
Praise the Creator. Bless you, Wanderer. Bless us all. As soon as the underground has been rid of demons, preparations for the great journey can resume.
Alright, so they gave us the basement key. Okay, so we are supposed to go to the basement. That's good to know.
Hey there.
Bilby, can you not? Go bed. Bilby, bed. Go bed, girls. Oh, there's your puppies. What? Bilby, what? Bilby. Oh. Go bed. Go bed. Go on. Lay down. Sorry. Puppy is speaking. They're saying things. Wait, can I make stim packs with these? Are these chemistry machines? No, they're not. Oh, terminal. Never mind. It's already stuff we've read.
Morning. Not now,
Fine.
smooth skin.
Tool locker. Alright, nothing really even good to steal here anyways. Okay. I like their slurs for me. Smooth skin. It's kind of funny. Huh? Oh. Wait, how did we get in here? There's so much stuff here. Oh, is this the entrance? Okay. Okay. Down we go. Back out into the... Wait, this is a different area than where we came in. Huh. What's this terminal? Visitor policy. All Repcon employees from Steve Reynolds Launch Facility Project Manager. Hello everyone. Please remember that this is a private secure facility. Family members are not allowed past reception under any circumstances. If you see any tourists near the facility, please direct them to the headquarters building, and if you see any unauthorized personnel inside the building, contact security immediately. Remember, only you can prevent corporate espionage. Espionage. There's the fucking train outside! Ah! Train won't shush. Sarsaparilla in a filing cabinet? Why? Why would they put it in there? These files sure are something. Oh, okay, we're back. We're back. We're so back. We're so back to where we were. Okay, so if I remember right, the basement is over here, maybe? Nope. This is the same area we were just at. This is where Eddie helped us kill all those ghouls. Why is there ramen here? Why are there Brahmin in here? What the fuck? Why is there Brahmin in here? I'm so confused. Oh, okay. Here's the basement. We have to go kill the Nightkin. Well, do we have to kill the Nightkin? Or can we get past him? Oh, hi. I think we have to kill them. They're red. Yeah. I think we gotta do it to them. I think it's time we take out the demons. It's time to take out the demons. They're coming this way, huh? Yeah, where are they? Oh, wow. Wow. Wow, they do a lot. Wow. Head. No head. Come on. No head. Yeah! You realize you're not alone. Yeah, I know I'm not alone. I'm so scared of them. Get out of here. Why do they all have incinerators? Oh, jail key? Why do they always have incinerators? Come on. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. That's right, buddy. That's right. Try to take me on. See what happens. Where? One of them came undone. Oh, there it is. Save Eddie! Yes! Shot him in the back. Literally shot him in the back. Yeah, all they have is clubs. It's just one big club. Club of Nightkin. Nightkin. Not Clin. My voice not work. My speak not good, actually. I love how every book was targeted and burned when the nukes dropped. Every single book, no matter where you are. I'm scared that I'm gonna forget to is it this is a steak? Yeah, this is steak. I'm scared that I'm gonna forget to VATS every time I enter a room, and they're just gonna appear, and I'm gonna scream like a little boy, like a little girl. I'm gonna scream the loudest scream I've ever scrum. Tool cabinet, scrap metal, vacuum cleaner, wonder glue. There's a whole bunch of stuff here, but like I don't need any of it. Because guess what? I don't have the requirements to craft anything. And I don't think I ever will have the requirements unless I get lucky and I find a bunch of perk books. Jeez. Sorry, the sun is coming in at my eyes. I'm like, I'm just trying to keep talking. It's just like assaulting my face. It's really not a good idea for me to stream at 6, because that's... I mean, no, actually, that's fine. Usually the sun is in my eyes at, 5 o'clock. That's usually when it's the worst. But it does... Oh, wait. We just did a big loop. We just did a big loop-de-loop. I was wondering why we were seeing dead Nightkin, but no, that was just me. I did that. Haha, I do that. There's another Nightkin. Did we kill this one? We could have. It's very possible that we did. Oh, it's a locked door. It's easy, though. Yeah.
Come and get it, you big dumb. Hey, you're not one of those things out there. Who the hell are you? And I bet he told you it's the Creator's will for you to risk your ass instead of him, right? Well,
yeah.
Good luck with that. I'd give you a hand, but no thanks. I may look like a corpse, but I'm partial to living.
Alright.
Guess the outfit gives that away, huh? I never did buy into that religious mumbo-jumbo with the robes and all that shit. It gets lonely out in the wastes, okay? And I don't have to tell you, that Bright's group has got some fine-looking goulettes in it. Or maybe I would have to tell you. Anyway, I helped them out, and they kept me supplied with ammo and pleasant company.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, you're polite. I'll give you that. If this was just between you and me, I had a friend with me when those mutant bastards came out of nowheres. She panicked and ran the wrong direction. She's probably dead. But I ain't leaving until I... You, on the other hand.
Okay. Let's go find his buddy. Ran further into the basement. That's what we're trying to find. So we just gotta keep going. Who are you fighting? Hey, what the fuck? Harland? Why are you... Harland! Bro, what are you doing? Ugh! What was he doing? What the fuck? He came on... Okay. Oh, I feel so bad. There was a way to get him out. He was so nice, too. He was fine. And he starts attacking? What the fuck? What the fuck? Come on, man. I'm not in the mood to read right now. I'm pissed off. Did he take me coming up here as an act of aggression? Oh, I didn't... Oh, no. Oh, I feel so bad now. I didn't... Oh. I see. There's bear traps. Stim pack! Ow! Looks like I'm gonna have to use that stim pack too. What is doctor's bag? And watch this. If I just sit here for a couple hours, I'll be perfectly okay. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh! What the fuck? What is back here that he's trying to stop me from getting to? I just like activated like so many different traps. Jeez. Well, I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to kill him. Okay, Robin. I don't want to hear it. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to kill him. He came on to me, alright? He decided, hey, let's start shooting at his robot companion. That'll be very nice to him. I'm just a nice cowboy, alright? I just wanted to do something nice. But he decided, no. No. I'm gonna start shooting your robot. And for that, he got put in his fucking place, alright? Yeah. Fuck that guy. I don't like him. I don't like him anymore. I'm gonna gaslight myself into thinking I'm in the right here. Alright? Don't worry. We're still good guys. We're not evil. I swear. Oh, now it... Hey.
Antler says you are the one killing my Ken. Antler says you must die.
Oh. Oh. Maybe if I didn't hit his stuff, I wouldn't have had to kill him. I'm sorry, Davey. Oh. If I didn't kill his buddies, I wouldn't have had to kill him, huh? Well. They attacked me. They attacked me. I'm justified. Don't even worry. Don't even worry. I'm justified. Bumper sword. It's time for the bumper sword, alright? That's my bumper swords! Open filing cabinet. Open filing cabinet. Open filing cabinets. Bottle cap. Rounds. Let's go. We love rounds. We love rounds. Rounds are always good to have. I'm sorry, Davidson. But you guys gotta go. Alright? There's not really anything here. Alright. There's... He just wanted me dead. Honestly. He just wanted to hurt me. And that's not okay. Alright? That's mean. That's not nice. That's not nice at all. They be out here. They be out here. They trying to kill me. And that's not good at all. That's not good at all. Alright? We don't like it when that happens. We don't like it when they try to kill us. Would you like it if they tried to kill you? I doubt it. Are there peeps? Are there peeps I'm not seeing? Are there people? Open the door. Get on the floor. Everyone wants a dinosaur. Also, I haven't been ADSing for some reason. This is jail, right? Yeah, it says jail. This is I unlocked it with the jail key. We got jail. Is there any prisoners? Is there any prisoners, or is it just jail? Nope, I think it's just jail. Oh. There's another dead ghoul. Very in character here. Let's put them in cells with a bunch of barrels. That's how jail is. I should know. After being green for so long. Ow! There's sun in my eyes. It's coming through the blinds. Ah! Oh, there's sun in my eyes. Oh no. This is also is this jail cell? Why would they do that? A bunch of wonder glue. I guess this is jail. I don't know what's in the jail or why you needed a key for it. Maybe I haven't seen all of it though. Is there like someone stuck in jail? One of these cells bad? Oh, I'm gonna have to fight that big Robco thing, aren't I? It said in like the HQ, the other building, that there's a giant security bot, like a big one. Oh. And the big robots have resistances to guns. That might not be good for me. Might not be good for me at all. I have a feeling that I'm gonna have to fight that thing, aren't I? I've got a feeling inside my bones. I'm gonna have to fight a robot from Robco. Oh, in my head. Okay. How do we get out of here? This is my one gripe with the Fallout series, is that all the buildings are like mazes because everything's dark. So I just don't remember how to get out of places. Oh my gosh. Is this that friend of the asshole who shot us? Is that who the dead prisoner is? It could be. It very well could be. I'm a smooth talker. Okay. That's the way out of the jail area. Let's get out of here. Alright. Let's just keep trekking. Hope that we can find a, hope that we can... Food. It says this is the food room. Nuka-Cola. Nuka-Cola's always good. I tend not to eat anything in these games. Because, you know, I use stim packs, of course, and I use, purified water. But, like, a lot of the food items are just, like, there's just a lot to keep track of, so I usually don't grab all of it. If I do, I usually just sell it, is the thing. I usually just sell all the food. This place is a maze. I'm beginning to see why you guys didn't think I'd do this in one stream. I don't even think we're even halfway through it. Is there anything more to this room? Maybe something I'm missing? Is there something more that can be done? Let me say that everyone here is really excited about the merger. Oh, this is the shipping mistake. Replace misbehavior. All Repcon staff from Daniel Nevitt, Human Resources Manager. In light of yesterday's upsetting events, all employees are hereby directed to give a thorough reading to REPCON's sexual harassment and workplace behavior policies. Also, while it is not explicitly stated in the employee handbook, unauthorized use of military hardware against fellow employees is grounds for immediate termination. Oh. Oh no, the Stealth Boys! Oh! Oh! What are the REPCON employees doing with the Stealth Boys? Oh, fuck, no. Oh. Oh. Oh my god. No. Robco HQ Supply Department. Sanjeev Rajan, REPCON Custodian. Sanjeev. We are sending back 2 crates of devices labeled Stealth Boys. Back to you. According to the manifest, each crate contained 1 gross 144 of the devices. As a result of some employee misbehavior, not mine, 1 crate was open and is missing 5 Stealth Boys. Sorry about that. Sincerely, Sanjeev Rajan, Custodian. Alright, well, that's so fucked. That one guy who's like, hey, you sent us some Stealth Boys. I could have some fun with these. I don't like him. That's not fun. It's harassment. Oh no. Oh, hi Davidson. Hey bro. Well, maybe we cleared everybody out? So maybe we're done? Yeah, I mean, we can go check. We can definitely go check, see if there's anything we missed. I don't know if there would be. I already went there. Already went here. This is the food area again. Wow, this place really is just maze-like, huh? Yeah, alright, well I guess we can go. We can have fun making corpses gonna lurk. Alright, talk to you later, Robin. Okay, let's go back up. Let's just go back up. I'm not making corpses, alright? I don't mean to kill a bunch of people. It just happens. And that's okay. Alright? It just means I'm strong and I can stand up for myself. That's all it means, right? It's a rocket. It's a rocket ship. Okay. Go back up to the row.
Hello.
Where's the guy? Hello.
Is the way clear? Praise the Creator, and
Yes.
bless you, Wanderer. The way is clear. I will lead my flock through the
Basement to the
sacred site. I hope you will come find us there, Wanderer. There is much to be done.
Okay. Oh, so they're all gonna head to the REPCON basement and talk to Jason Bright about what comes next. Oh, so go back to the basement. Okay. Yeah, you just came from the basement? Thanks. Go back to the basement. I guess we were clearing the way for them, so it makes sense. It makes sense that they were, you know. Makes sense. Kind of makes sense. A little bit of sense. Just a little bit. What is it? I can't get out the door. Alright. Back to the basement. Back to the basement where we killed all those night kitten. Back to the basement. Oh wait, this is the research labs. There's another way out of here, I remember. You go through here and there's a hole in the floor and then you go down. Yeah. And then through here. You go back here. And then down to the basement. Wait, where are we now? What the? We are in a different area that I didn't explore yet. Oh wait, no, yes we did. We did explore here. This is the front. This is the front room. It's the front desk. Basement. Let's just retrace our steps. I'm trying to like go fast because I want to prove that I can do this in one stream. Because I'm him, you know, I'm him. I'm her, I'm her, I'm him, I'm both. I'm everyone. Purified water and rebound. Rebound's good, it just generates your AP. Oh, we went in the wrong door. I see what happened. Okay, so in here, and then over this way, through the corpses. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about them. To the Repcom basement. Back to where we were. Hopefully we did get all the Nightkin. And we didn't just tell them, oh yeah, don't worry, it's safe. Without it actually being safe. Where are we going? They said go back to the basement. Are they in here? Oh. This is new. This is hella new. Didn't see this before. There's so much junk everywhere. Did like the physics just explode it out everywhere? Oh no. Oh no. Come on, come on, come on. Into the thing. Into the ding. Go to the thing. Go to the thing. Gotta find the way to space again. Okay. Axo cleaner, shot glass, Pepsi bottle, Coca-Cola glass. I don't give a damn. The stupidest thing to reference right now. Foot locker. Favorite place to buy shoes. Oh, reloading bench. We can't even make anything. It's over. Pepsi bottle, Coca-Cola glass. I don't give a damn. Why does he say it like that? He says it in such a great way. Make the workbench. So we can just recycle all our stuff. Wow. Alright. What's over here? Med-X? Stimback? Hell yeah. Mentats? Hell yeah. What's over here? Abraxo cleaner? Also yummy. Spacesuit helmet. Spacesuit? I can be a spaceman. Look at me. Look at me. This is the way that it was supposed to be. Why do I look like Dracula Flo? I look like Dracula Flo for a second. I clipped that. I clipped it. I like clipping it.
I waited to speak with you one last time before I descended to the launch pad, Wanderer. I want you to know that we will remember for all eternity how you delivered us to the threshold of the great journey. Our preparations are nearly complete, but the rockets that will carry us to salvation are yet missing vital components.
Okay.
If you would still help us, Wanderer, speak to Chris. He can tell you what is missing. There is no way that we can thank you enough, Wanderer. Your arrival here... I have glimpsed it only. It is a place of light and healing.
Okay.
Yes. The rockets will convey us to our promised
He's
land
gonna go
in
space.
far beyond.
I recommend it,
Vision
yeah.
upon
Space is pretty
vision.
cool.
There is no way that we can thank you enough, Wanderer.
He's gonna go space. I recommend space. Don't worry about like any like concerns with like the rockets working. Nah, they're fine. They're fine. Don't even worry about it, man. What? 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 Where am I? What? Wait, so where am I Chrising? You Chris?
Jason
Hey, Chris.
says that I am to cooperate with you on the final tasks I'm the Flock's resident engineer. I've always been good with machines. Jason says the Great Journey would have been impossible without me. Of course, my skills aren't much use unless I have the right materials. That's where you come in.
Okay.
I was close to completing work on the rockets before we were driven into hiding on the top floor. 2 components were missing. A quantity of isotope 239 igniting agent, and a set of thrust control modules. The igniting agent is highly radioactive and decays quickly. That's why we can't use the drums that leak down on the launch pad. It's no longer potent enough. I need you to find an intact, shielded container of the igniting agent.
I know where that is.
As for the thrust control modules, they were custom built for these rockets. They won't even launch without them. Let me see. Yes, that's the igniting agent.
Oh, okay. They need 5 of them.
Very well.
I think I know where that is, though. Isn't there a container of it?
Yes. Now all I need is the thrust control modules.
Okay. Oh, what the fuck? Did we just have it on us? I thought it was in those jars at the HQ.
Repcon has been ransacked so many times by scavengers, it's hard to know where the components might turn up. If they turn up. Jason has mentioned some industrial ruins to the east that are supposed to be highly radioactive.
Industrial ruins to the east. Industrial ruins to the east. Is that... Oh, the Gibson scrapyard. Yeah. Okay. Maybe that'll have the pads, the launch things. Okay. Let's go to Gibson. The Gibson scrapyard. That might have them. Oh wait, are we supposed to go in? I love you. Do they have them? Hello. Hello, Gibson.
So you're back. As it so happens, I do have some Yes,
Yay.
you are quite the smooth talk. Pleasure doing business with you.
Yay! We did it. Okay. Old Lady Gibson, she's so sick. She's so nice. Okay, now back to the test site. Okay. Also, now we know that there's a sneaky way to get into the basement. Sneaky way. Go the sneaky way. Yes. Alright, go the sneaky way. Go talk to Chris. Hey, Chris.
Have you found the components we discussed?
Yes.
Indeed you did. And they seem to be in excellent condition.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
We have everything we need to launch the rockets, Jason. The great journey can begin.
Gather all. May the Creator guide my words and help me speak true. The Almighty Creator has seen fit to answer our prayers. The time has come for us to board the rockets and begin the great journey. Though it may seem that all humans despise us, the Creator has seen fit to instruct us differently. The journey ahead would have been impossible if not for the intercession of two human friends, one new, the other a long, abiding companion. To our new friend, we say thanks, and promise never to forget how we cleared from our path the demons who sought to stay our journey. But to Chris, we owe more than thanks. Chris, you have made this great journey a reality. From this moment forward, you will be remembered as the saint of the great journey. We shall never forget you. I ask that you forgive us, Chris, and give us your blessing. And we bestow ours upon you. Seekers, board the rockets. Take your seats. The great journey awaits. To the promised land we go.
Wait, did I take his
far
spacesuit?
beyond.
The spacesuit that was right here?
Hello.
Morning. Hello.
What? Board the rockets. Oh, do I have to leave first?
Did you hear him? My God, you were right all along. And dying would be... Oh, so I've redeemed the human... So, you want me to accompany you on your adventures across the wasteland?
Sure.
Is that it? Life among humans again? That's what you're suggesting? I guess it's the only chance I've got. Maybe it'll be different this time. I was never a saint before. I can't believe I'm agreeing to this, but I'll give it a try. You go launch the rockets. I'm on my way to Novak.
Okay. What do I do to launch the rockets? I wasn't really listening, honestly. So, where does it say? What does it say on the quest thing? Head up to the viewing platform. Okay, so there's a viewing platform. It's so thin, my darling, how I love you. Da, 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 da. I am green and stuff, 'cause I'm green. It's just the way that I am, my dear. Alright. How do I get to the thing? How do I get to this thing? No, there's all just fair ghouls on the ground. That wasn't me, I promise. I swore. It wasn't me, I swore. Alright. Alrighty. Alrighty. Come on. Get up there. Get up there. Get up there. Oh. How do I get up there? I don't know. There's something like invisible walls. I've been noticing that. I'm giving them places that don't make sense. I guess it's to like stop people from cheesing the game, maybe? What? Oh, there's more ghouls. Hey, so no head? Bam! I'm the space cowboy. This is the return of the space cowboy. Bam! 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 Of the space cowboy. Whoa! Ow. Where's the viewing platform? How do I get up there? There's gonna be some way to do it, right? There's sun in my eyes. And it hurts. It hurts a lot. There's gonna be some way to get up there. I wouldn't tell you to go up there if you can't if you just can't. Alright? Is there like a thing I have to click or something? Like a clicker? A little clicker? I don't see anything. Oh wait, maybe it's in the facility. Make your way up to the viewing platform. That looks like a viewing platform. Maybe it's in the facility. No. Wait. What? No, but it's saying to go this way. Let's check the map. Let's check the map. What's it say? Go to the viewing platform. Right there. Is there some workaround way to get there? Oh, I never got here. Hold on. I almost missed a whole bunch of ammo. I did just jump on that man. Like on accident for sure, but like still. Go to the viewing platform. Wait. Is it in here? Oh, is the way to the viewing platform like through here? What is this? What is this supposed to be? It's like some kind of thing. Huh. I don't know what that's supposed to be. So is there like a way inside of here that I'm supposed to go? That would make sense. Yeah, maybe through here? No? Maybe not through here? Or... Okay, I'm in the area. I'm in the area I'm supposed to be. Maybe it's just... Oh, the game crashed. Oh, fuck. Oh. Why does it keep doing it? Why does it keep crashing? Alright, play again. Wait, is there any options or anything I can fix? Yeah, maybe. Maybe if I turn anti-aliasing down a bit. Yeah. Okay. Play. And it's on the wrong screen. It's on the wrong screen. What the fuck? Oh my god. Okay. Okay. It's on the wrong screen. Which means I'd be looking over the whole time. Yes, please exit the game. I don't want to play it like that. Hold on. There's always technical difficulties. Why is there always technical difficulties? Option. Play. Okay. Okay. All right. I think we did it. I think we got the game back up. Yeah, looks like it. Looks like we did. Looks like we did it. Perfect. Okay, continue. Yes, continue. It's gonna take us all the way back to the fucking... Up to the viewing platform. Where is the viewing platform? I'm so confused on this topic. I'm so flabbergasted on what the viewing platform is. Is the viewing platform through here? Is this where it is? Is there a way up? I don't see any. I don't see any, like, see anything, honestly. But maybe we're just, not the greatest lookers. I'm not the greatest looker. Oh, kind of ugly. But it's okay. Because I don't care. Where's the viewing platform? Is it in through the jail? Nope, doesn't seem like it is. I don't like the jail. The jail's where I get lost. Okay. Is there like a map inside? Oh, there is. Okay, I'm going back into the RepCon facility. Okay, that kind of makes sense. Makes a little bit of sense. Yeah, maybe that thing that I was looking at is the viewing platform. And I was just doubting myself for no good reason. Yeah, maybe we are trying to go back to the RepCon facility. That would make sense. Yeah. Okay, we are. We are. I was correct. Don't you even worry, I was correct. Okay. Yeah, so it's up here. It's up here, my funny. Right. Go up here. Kind of sad I didn't get the revolver I wanted. We're almost done with the game, too. At least we're far into the game. Wait. On test site. This is the viewing platform. Oh no. Wait, this thing. This thing. What are my science stats at? 37. 55 is required. Oh no. Oh no. We're kind of far from leveling too. I'm scared. I'm scared. I don't want to do anything. Okay. I'm not going to let them launch until I can get this. Oh, no. We speech too much. We can't. Our science is at 37. If we just level up one time. Then we can use a book to... We level up one time, we can use a book to, science up, can't we? Yeah. Because I have 2 Programmer's Digest. Okay, let's just, what the fuck is this? This is the huge sword thing that the super giant had. The super mutant. He wanted the mutants. Yeah. Alright, let's just get out of here. Let's go do the... I do not want to... Okay, we can't fast travel from here, but that's okay. We'll just leave. It's easy to leave. Alright. I don't want to mess with any of that until we know what we're doing. Because I don't want them to crash. I'm pretty sure there's a failsafe that they can crash in. And I want to make sure that they can, you know, live and go to their space. So maybe, like I said, I had a little bit of this thing, like, spoiled, so I'm pretty sure that there's a way that they crash. And if I have to fix that console so that they don't crash, then I'm gonna make sure that that happens. Because they just want to go to space. And that's a noble goal. So, sadly, we'll have to leave them for now. And we'll have to go do more Brotherhood stuff. What's the Brotherhood quest? Find the missing Brotherhood patrol at Nellis Air Force Base. Okay. I can't with this thing. Okay, we're going to the clinic. We're going to the clinic. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna head to the Air Force Base. And we're gonna listen carefully to what the guy says this time. Alright? We're gonna listen real close. We're not going to, you know, we're not gonna worry about it. We're just gonna listen. We're gonna listen closely. We're just gonna figure it out. There's some chem addicts over there. We'll leave them alone. Also, apparently there's like a way through the tunnel. There's like a tunnel way through. Also, while we're here, we can probably talk to the boomers, huh? Hey, sir?
Whoa there, pal. You better slow down. Now that I've got your attention, might you be interested? Whoa. I've made some cash from gambling and some cash from reclaiming goods that are no longer being used. Oh, look. They're a bunch of artillery-slinging, grenade-lobbing odd jobs camping out in Nellis. Wander into their territory and you're as good as mincemeat.
I see.
There is. Suit yourself. Come back.
I want to hurt this man.
Welcome back. Have you... Well, if... All right. Okay, here you go. That page has the details, but it's all in the timing as you move from building to building. I'll be here watching, so I...
Okay, so we'll get 400 caps if we make it back alive. Okay, so... the key to avoiding the artillery is to move from building to building up the northwest side of town. Toward the front gate. Stick to the high cover in the northeast corner of the two buildings, then make a beeline for the gate. The boomers won't shoot at their own people, so stick to the fence until you make it to the gate. So I know that there is an old train tunnel that enters the area from the south, but no one has ever come back out of there to say it is safe. Well, let's try the south. Let's try the train tunnel. I'm guessing this way is the train tunnel. You know? And I'm pretty strong, so if there's any like beasties, we'll take care of them. We'll do it. 'Cause we're strong. Oh fuck. They're gonna shoot at us on the train. Jesus Christ. Okay, yeah, so they're shooting at me from the train. Amazing. Does it... really? That far back? Damn! Okay. Alright. Alrighty, I see. We're gonna go do it again. We're gonna do it again. Do it again. That's what...
Do it again.
Do it again. That's what we gotta do. We gotta do it again, guys. Come on! I don't like repetitive games. I don't like these games, boomers. I don't like these games, boomers. Also, when we get to that road, we're gonna save. We're gonna save. Actually, we should save right now. We haven't saved for a while. We haven't saved for a while. Do you think if I stealth, if I stealth boy? Yeah, let's see. Let's see if I can also. Ooh, wait. Rad resistance. That's kind of cool. What do I look like right now? I look crazy, actually. Yeah. This the man. This is the man that everyone loves. This is John McCaffrey. Is that what I named my character? Is John McCaffrey? No, it's not. John McCaffrey's the guy I killed in the atomic thing. Okay, so what was I? I was in here to get something. I was a stealth boy. Plus 100, sneak 100, sneak 100. Don't even fucking know we're here. Are they serious? Are they serious? Oh, come on. Oh, fuck. Ah! How did they see me? Who else did I kill? No one important. Also, that message got like blocked. I think it's cause kill. Which makes sense, right? Oh man. I mean, we didn't kill a lot of people. Let's check the count. Let's check the count. Let's check the count. Let's see how many people we kill. Look, it says I'm good. Look, it says I'm good, actually. Creatures killed 107. I haven't killed that many people, right? Only killed one more since last time. Last time we checked. It still stands. Who did you send to God? I think the ghoul guy. I think it was the ghoul guy that counted as a person. Oh my, does people count as only like humans? Hello.
Whoa there, pal. You better slow down, or you'll get blown up.
Okay. You can tell me. I mean, I've already listened to all this.
Okay.
All right, let's save here, just real quick, so that we don't have to do this shit again. I'm not good at reading stuff, so let's look at it again. Let's look at the let's look at the thing. Ooh. Key to avoiding the artillery is to move from building to building up the northwest side of town. This is the northwest. Okay. Move from building to building from the northwest side of town. How close are they? Oh, jeez. They want me so much. Move from building to building. Okay, let's check. Northwest side of town toward the front gate. Stick to the high cover in the northeast corner of the two buildings. I can't see anything while I'm being bombed. Oh, wow. Eddie! No! No, I was so close! No! Oh! No! Okay, move from building to building on the northeast or the northwest side of town. Okay, stick to the high cover. Just wait for the artillery to go. Okay. Run to this building. Let me in! Oh. Move from building. Okay, stick to the gate. So they won't shoot their own people. Also, I'm crippled. I am crippled right now. I should probably fix that. Alright.
Hold it right there. Don't you move. How the hell did you survive that bombardment? But I had you zeroed in the whole time. Nobody's that fast. Move a muscle now and I'll blow you to pieces. Then just stay where you are.
I'll take this from here.
Hi, Raquel.
I'm Raquel, Master-at-Arms for the Nellis homeland. Mother Pearl, our eldest, wishes to speak to you.
Okay.
I oversee the security of the Nellis homeland, from the coordination of its defense to the training and fitness of its population.
Okay. They're not gonna confiscate my
Welcome,
weapons.
child. Took your sweet time getting here, didn't you?
Yeah.
I've been waiting a good 5 years for an outsider to come along and visit. Those howitzers of ours aren't just for entertainment, child. Explosive ordnance is what keeps the savages at a distance.
Yeah.
Except you. There's something special about you, child, and it was the howitzers that gave you a chance to show it.
Okay.
Oh, so many ways. Small ones to begin with, so we can get used to what it's like to have a outsider around and about.
Yeah, outsider.
Should that go well, maybe you can help in big ways, too.
Yeah.
We'll have to see.
Yeah.
You have to keep in mind that you're our first contact with the outside world since I was barely a woman.
Yeah.
Seclusion has kept us safe, but the world around us is changing. Neon lights in the distance, patrolling robots, soldiers. My youngers think our guns can keep out the world, but I think we need to let it in just a little, or become its victim.
Yeah, probably.
You're that little bit of the world. You picked a good time to stop by, for we're swimming in problem. Raquel could use help with the bug problem. Doc Argyle has wounded he's tending to. And Loyal and Jack might be looking for help with... Or you could just go see Pete at the museum and hear the story of our people. All you have to do there is listen. Come and go as you like, help or don't help, I leave it up to you. But I hope you'll show my youngers that not every outsider needs to be blown up.
Hey.
I can take care of that robot problem for you. Just saying.
You threatening my fucking Eddie? Oh, these people have sinned. These people have sinned against me. Don't. I'm a good beepo. I won't kill all of them yet. I won't kill all of them yet. I won't kill all of them yet. I won't kill all. The game crashed. The game crashed. Third time today. Oh my god. Alright, we're almost back. We're almost back. Okay, we're back in the game, guys. We did it. Yes, continue for my last game, please. Okay. Alright, this is the Nellis Air Force Base. Okay. Let's see. Wait, this is still the one we're tracking, so where's the world map? It's this way. This is the way to the patrol, and then we can get away from these horrible people. I want to kill all of them, but I don't think I'm strong enough. I want to kill all of them. Alright, well, I don't think they'll shoot ordnance at me anymore, so hopefully we'll be fine. Need to find the Brotherhood. We need to find the Brotherhood patrol. Oh, but they're gonna be like blown to smithereens, honestly. In all honesty, they're gonna be blown to bits. Are they over here? No, they're in here. This is the one that tracks them, maybe. Oh, they were destroyed. Oh no. Yeah. You hate to see it. Alright. Return to the Elder. What are you fighting? Oh, just scorpions. Okay. Fair enough. Alright. Into here. I was talking to Eddie, not the Brotherhood. We go in. Everyone's such a recluse. Recluse. Yeah. You know what I mean. Everyone, all these factions are like,
The bunker takes a little getting used to, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, definitely. They all, like, are just, like, scared of everyone. Hello.
Found the missing patrols, or was something else on your mind? I can spare. It's a protective measure that was enacted after our defeat at Helios. The NCR was hot on our heels, and we wouldn't have survived another encounter. It was decided that we would stay quiet for a time, heal the wounded, and try to come up with a new strategy. However, after we had fully recuperated, our first scouting measures showed that the NCR's presence in this region had only increased in our absence. There are now more than 5 times the number of NCR troops in the area as when we fought them. And we have half the number we did at Helios. And so the lockdown has been extended. To go outside would be the death of us all. We have some personnel that are allowed to travel on the surface. They trade for what we need and occasionally drop off what they acquire. We make sure that they only enter or leave the bunker while the sandstorm is active, to avoid detection.
I see.
That is this base's defensive system. It serves as camouflage and masks all entry and exit from the bunker. We use it to hide our patrols and supply runners, though we still send such out at night to be extra safe.
Yes.
Found the missing patrols? They were all dead then. I suppose I'm not surprised. We have few friends in the world above, and many enemies. But we must turn our minds to other matters. When I sent out those patrols, I also sent 3 knights out on scouting missions. When the patrols failed to return, we assumed the worst, and sent a single communication to the scouts to hold position and maintain radio silence. I want you to contact those scouts and gather their reports. Like the patrols, they have devices on them that will enable you to track them. When you find them, tell them you're my representative and ask them if the bears are still hunting. That should get them to talk to you. Return when you've gathered all of their reports.
Yeah, sounds good. All right. Oh. Oh. What was the other thing? What's the thing? Nipton. NCR Correctional Facility. Camp Forlorn Hope. What is this? What is this?
You're being watched, so don't get any ideas.
Hold on, I got a message on Discord. Oh, it's just Aru. Hello. All right. Well, at least we got that one quest done. That one quest being, that one quest is completed. Oh, I hate them. I hate the boomers so much. But thankfully, we don't have to do that stupid, we don't have to do the stupid thing anymore. So
I heard some special squad of rangers is on it.
Don't gotta work on that anymore. You can just head out. They said that they'll give us access to equipment or something. I don't know how to get power armor training. Oh, wow. What a group. What a group they have. Wait, is this where I receive the power armor training?
Now, who can tell me the primary components of gunpowder? McNamara has done a pretty good job, given the situation he was handed.
Yeah. Alright, let's go out. Let's go,
Looks like Mr. House is out of the picture. One less thing for us to deal with.
Oh my. They're commending me on killing Mr. House. Hello.
The word came down from the Elder that I'm to offer you some of our lesser wares. Our patrols are always bringing more stuff in. Take a look.
Oh, it's just rounds, huh? Ballistic fist. Oh, what? Huh. Greased lightning. Where did all of our caps go? Oh, I remember. We bought an implant. We bought an implant. Okay. Don't have to worry. This is just a normal hunting rifle. We can sell that. This is a laser ICW. You can sell that. Wait, hold on. How much do they want for their armor? 4,000. That's a lot, man. And look, our helmet already does. It's only 1 point under theirs. Did we carry anything else? It was like valuable. I guess centaur blood. No, we haven't really been carrying anything. Oh, do they have 5.56? We're running low. They do. They have 15. Okay. Sell them back their armor. Kind of funny. If I up my intelligence stat like just a little bit with mentats, does that also like
Another satisfied customer. If you must know, my inventory check this week shows Hardin will have my head if I don't find that weapon soon.
Okay. Missing a laser
Only a
pistol.
few people get to venture outside, usually to trade for food.
Okay, let's see. There was this Nikola Tesla thingy. Energy weapons increased. I was hoping it was science. I was really hoping it was science. It's not though. That gun is in good condition. Okay. Let's
The reports say
keep
Mr.
going.
House's robots are now using tech we've never heard of. We need to send a team up there soon.
All the buildings in this place are like fucking mazes. Ugh. I hate it. I hate that they're all mazes. Also, what is the point of having this be a loading zone? Why not have it be all one map? Okay, so where are we heading? We're heading Camp Forlorn Hope, Nipton, and the correctional facility. Yeah, correctional facility. Okay. There's apparently a scout patrol near here. Hold on one second. I'm gonna text Bro and tell him that I'm streaming. There we go. Ooh. Sorry, I just like I keep getting called and messaged today, which is good. I like being called and messaged. Eventually I want like the stream to be kind of more relaxed and less focused. Even though it's like, you know, it's good to have a focus. I want it to be kind of just, you know, a hanging out thing where I just get to yap so that I can just bring friends on without having to really worry too much. Hold on. I'm gonna take a second just to respond to this, because it's kind of important, I think. Okay, okay. Alright. We're back. Sorry, I don't like to leave people in the dark. Hello! Hello, Blueberry Bean. Welcome in. How's it going? We're trying to find the scout that's scout patrol that was sent out. Yeah. That's good to hear. Sorry, I just had to like message someone, and so I'm like I get flashbanged whenever I get off yapping. So it's a second. Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's great to see that that works. Hell yeah. Yeah, no, I'm very much an alien. I'm from a very far away planet. But I'm here now. Reasons. There's police outside. They found me. No. Oh. Oh my god. Okay, so where does it look at the thing on the map that says the thing right there. So go this way. They should be this way. Guessing, right? Oh, they might be under attack by powder gangers. That would make sense. I don't have to get to a safe spot. I'm always safe because I'm him. Aria 4 is pretty cool. It's not a big planet. It's very much like you guys have Pluto, and that's close to the size of our planet. It's not. It's a lot of wars and stuff, but it's okay now. At least last time I was there. There's a lot of like jungle. Like our planet was mostly jungle, at least before we did like cities and stuff, but yeah, I guess we don't really categorize it. The most categorizing we have for planets is like well, the reason it's called Aria 4 is because it's the 4th planet away from our sun. So that's the only reason the 4 is even there. Because that's important to know, because the planets get more and more inhospitable the closer or further they are. But yeah, I guess you guys have a movie called Avatar. It's kind of similar to that, but it's just mostly... Oh, there's the Brotherhood guy.
Hey, what do you want? And don't try anything funny.
I'm gonna do a funny. I'm gonna do a funny to him.
You speak truly, for it is unlikely that an outsider would know both the Elder's name and that passphrase.
Passphrase.
Very well.
Yes.
I've been observing the penal facility there in the distance for some time now, after having followed some rather disturbing rumors.
Yeah.
The facility was run by the NCR for a time, but what puzzles me is why these men have been allowed to run wild for so long unchecked. Why has the NCR not retaken this place? Give this to the Elder.
It's difficult. I did this.
My
I
observations
went
are
through
all
this place
within.
earlier. It's difficult.
Perhaps
There's a lot of
he
guys.
will have a better idea of what this situation portends.
Okay. One scout report collected. On to the next. Aria 4 is like... It's a very... Okay. So... My people... The Kaplarians... That's me. We're very similar to humans. It's just our anatomy is different because we never lost, like, reason for climbing and swinging through trees and stuff, so we still do all that because our entire like civilization is kind of, it's very close knit. We don't have like countries like you guys do. We basically just have one big central government because it wasn't that hard to, you know, come together since the planet was so small. Yeah, it's mostly trees and gigantic megafauna. or megaflora and stuff like that, we have to there's it's kind of hard to get around if you're not in like a city area, because you have to you have to you have to know how to climb very well and very quickly. Our people are closer to what you guys call orangutans, so our arms are very long and muscular, while the rest of our body's way shorter. We don't really walk around. Our arms aren't that long, like proportionally, but they're pretty big. I think that's like the biggest difference. Also, big ears and antenna. Our antenna work kind of like whiskers. So like they help us see, not see, but like sense stuff that's near us, above and below. So they're kind of used to navigate through foliage and stuff, almost like a cat's whiskers that help them like tell if they can fit into places. But now they're just used for space stuff. Regulating positioning. Where are we going? We're going to Nipton. That's where we gotta go next, is Nipton. Oh! I remember Nipton. Who are you fighting? Eddie. Eddie, who are you fighting? Eddie? Did the boomer that was in here ever, like, go somewhere? Hey. Hey, man. Oh, thanks for the follow! Oh, whoa, the widget isn't playing for me. Did the widget play for you? Like, did you hear the sound that I made for it? Thanks. Okay, yeah, I just couldn't hear it through my headset,
What is it
so
this time?
maybe it's different.
Him? When his ticket came up, they burned him alive on a pipe.
Okay. Just let's talk about something else, boxcars. I wish he would be nice, because then I wouldn't have to hate him. I kind of want to kill him just because he's a boomer. I don't like the boomers. They're mean. They're mean to people and they explode people. That's their whole bit. They just explode people. It's not nice. Ah. But yeah, no, I definitely, there's a bunch of lore for my character. I just haven't put it out anywhere yet because I haven't finished a bunch of it. I'll be publishing some of it to my Twitter, like putting some of it on there. I have like a few documents that I've made. My lore is mostly just world building. It's not really about me. Oh, I see. Okay. So the scout patrols are over here. They're up in the hills here. Wait, this is where we got ambushed by the... Where we got ambushed by the guys. What is that? Oh, it's not anything anymore. Oh, shit. Why is there so many enemies right there? Oh, they're all coyotes. There's a coyote den. How many coyotes? Oh, oh, wow. Oh, it's an ambush, it's an ambush, it's an ambush, it's an ambush! No! Oh, that's cool. Sorry, I'm kind of like focused in here. Yeah, you can talk about it more. I mean, it's like an imaginary planet or is it a real planet? I've been to a lot of planets. I've been to a lot of planets, like a lot. That was kind of my high school job, was I just like went places and I delivered like mail. We didn't really have too much work. It was just like, you go to this planet, go to this planet, all that, blah, blah. My boss was fine. It was just a bad job. But I did learn a lot about like different cultures and stuff when I was doing that. Cause it's just like, you know, go this planet, blah 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 blah. You know. They told us to I don't even remember what the job was, because we would just go to planets and then my coworker would just go off and then come back like a couple hours later and say, alright, time to go. So I was just kind of the driver. Yeah, I mean, that's just a common thing though. Everyone thinks that their home planet is boring because you've been there for so long. But this world is fine. You guys have a lot of space. A lot of space here. Like, your cities are huge. We kind of like try to keep up in the canopies. All of our like cities are on these big stilt things that weave between the trees. Because we don't want to mess with the wildlife and stuff that's down there. It's also like a couple parts of our planet were war zones for a good while, and there still haven't since the last war. I wasn't born yet. It was like 100 something years ago now. 100, 150. 150 was the war. Well, cause like it wasn't good. There was some bad people. There's some bad people. Who didn't believe in freedom and personal choice, so we had to take them out. Yeah. What was I doing? Oh, we're in a fight. We're in an actual battle right now. Hold on. I don't know much about Earth Wars. He's just a bit. Oh, come on. Yay! Oh wait, these ones are severely underleveled compared to me. Bye-bye. Come on. No head. Yeah, it's not good, but there was an upside to the war. It led to our governments kind of uniting even closer than they were before. Are they all dead? Eddie, did you get the last one? Good boy. Good boy, Eddie. Good boy. Good boy, Eddie. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. There's no treats for robots, but like... But I'd give him a treat. I'd definitely do that. Trail carbine. Pulse grenade. Plasma grenade. Night Stalker tail. Throwing spear. Oh, that's the dinner alarm. I need to turn that off, honestly. Yeah. No more dinner alarm. No more dinner alarm. I'm considering like moving the stream time to 5 so that it's not so late for other people. I have a lot of friends who are in other countries and states and stuff. So it's like, maybe I should move the stream time down. Okay. Cave fungus. That's not food. You're lying to me. Okay. We gotta go. We gotta keep going. Even after the ambush. Are we heading the right way? No, we're not. Our quest is up here. Who's shooting at us? Who's shooting? Oh, there's the Brotherhood scout. Where's the scout? Okay. Hello.
Don't take another step if you... Strange that the Elder should send an outsider, but I suppose he has his reasons.
Why are you crouching?
My observations have mostly focused on the small town to the south of here. It was cruelly attacked, its inhabitants slain nearly to the last. That such an act could occur so far west is nearly unthinkable. The NCR has forces in all directions, and an outpost scant miles west from here. That they have not responded to this violence shows either an unwillingness or inability to properly defend their borders, which is telling. I've collected such musings in this report. Please take it to the Elder.
All right, thank you. All right, on to the last scout, which is near Camp Forlorn Hope. Okay. The next scout is this way.
We won't go quiet. The Legion can count on that.
They have heavy armor, which is just power armor. Right? They have power armor. Come on. Come on. Where am I going? Am I going the right way? No, I'm not. The guy's over here. I see him! He's right there. He's right there. Okay. Okay. Hello.
Approach slowly, stranger. If you have no business with me, then go. Then I am sworn to report. I've been dividing my time between the camps to the north and south of here.
Are they all the same model?
One belongs to the
These
NCR,
are all the same character model.
The other to a band of slavers known as Caesar's Legion. I was sure the NCR would quickly win, but that has not happened. Instead, the two sides maintained a long stalemate, and only after an extended duration did the NCR finally destroy its opponent. When they did, it appeared they did so with the help of fresh reinforcements. I do not believe they could have managed the feat without them. That savages such as these could last so long against the NCR is troubling. Please, take my findings to the Elder. He'll know what to make of this.
Okay. Oh, so they witnessed stuff happen here. I didn't even realize this is a war zone right here. Oh! Oh, I see what's happening here. Okay, so that town over there... That town over there used to be overrun by the Legion, which are bad guys. We don't like the Legion. They're bad peoples. And this is an NCR group, but they're fine. They're just like, you know, military government peoples. But this looks like this is the war ground between them. All right, I think that's all. Oh, wait. Wait, is there another... Why is there a... Oh. I see. Okay. Now time to return to the Elder. Let's go back to the Elder. Go back to the Elder. Always something evil happening. There's always some opponent to fight. Always. Okay. If we go tell the Elder about the scouts, I think that should be like close to the end of the quest. Maybe not. People do love the Brotherhood, so I'm sure that they spent a lot of time on these quests, honestly. I just wish this place wasn't such a maze. This way. Okay. And we go down, or around this way, to the Elder. Hello, Elder.
Have you had any luck finding the scouts? Good. Let's take a look. If I'm reading this right, it appears that the NCR's grip on this region is nowhere near as firm as I thought. I'll have to review these in detail, but these reports have given me much to think about. Thank you, Outsider. You've become someone I can count on, so I believe I can share something rather confidential with you. I would like you to find the components we need to fix this bunker's air filtration system. I cannot overstate the importance of this task. See Senior Knight Lorenzo for the details. He's the one who brought the matter to my attention, and the only other person who is aware of it.
Okay. Lorenzo. Senior Knight Lorenzo. Failing ale filtration system. Where's Lorenzo? Where is Lorenzo? Ooh, who do we have in here?
You're being watched.
There have been
so
reports
don't
that
get
the
any
NCR
ideas.
is moving more and more troops into the area.
Broken power armor. A whole bunch of it too. I'm so glad that you don't get in trouble just for looking in cabinets.
Evening.
Where is Lorenzo? Workbench. Recycle. 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 Brotherhood scribe. Brotherhood steel knight. Okay. Ooh, I haven't ventured through these corridors yet, so it's kind of cool actually. Where's Lorenzo?
Yes, what is it?
Taggart.
Ah, the Outsider. I am Head Scribe Tag.
Okay. He doesn't like talking to me, apparently. I'm looking for Head Knight Lorenzo, Apprentice
Looks like
Watkins.
Mr. House is out of the picture.
Your house is
One less thing for
extremely
us to deal
yellow.
with.
Why is her hair so yellow? Oh, hello. Thank you for the follow. Hi, how's it doing? Welcome to the stream. What's happening? Where's the knight we're looking for? Where are you?
How may I assist you?
Show yourself. Where's Lorenzo? Wait, wouldn't it tell us where Lorenzo is? Speak to Senior Knight Lorenzo. No, because it's telling us so many different things all at once. Oh, there he is. Hello.
Oh, you must be the Outsider everyone's buzzing about. Pleased to meet you. I'm Lorenzo, Senior Knight and General Handyman around here.
I'm Beepo.
So now I'm going to have your death on my conscience too?
What?
Great. You think you're the first person the Elders trusted with this? He sent 3 of our patrols out looking for those components, and they're all dead. I was the one who supplied the Elder with the location of possible sites where we could find the components, so their deaths are my fault. And now it's your turn. Well, don't say you weren't warned. I won't take the blame when you die horribly. But I can tell you're getting
No, I'm
impatient.
him. Don't worry.
The
Don't worry,
items
I'm
I'll
him.
need to keep the system running are a differential pressure controller, a reverse pulse cleaner, and several HEPA cartridge filters. At present, my best guess for finding the items would be to search any of the old vaults in the area. Those vaults were usually built much like these military bunkers, even using the same contractors in their constructions at times. I'll mark the vault's locations on your map. Best of luck to you.
Okay. Well,
You're being watched, so don't get any ideas.
I wonder if they're gonna teach me how to use power armor? But I guess not. Where's the vaults in the region? Several vaults in the region. Vault 22. Vault 11. South Vegas Ruins East entrance. Also, isn't there like a... Isn't there like a strip? Vault. A vault near the strip. Where am I? This place is so confusing.
You're being watched, so don't get any ideas.
Probably save. There we go. Perfect. Okay. Hidden Valley level 1. Now we go back through here. We weave this. And then we turn. Yay! What?
There've been reports that the NCR is moving more and more troops into
You've been
the area.
outside. Is the NCR really still hunting us?
What? What? Huh? What? It just stopped my recording. What? Okay, well I guess this is gonna have to be split into two. Oh no. Stop my recording. Actually, no, it's not gonna have to be split into two. I can just grab the one off of Twitch. It's okay. All right. That guy was. Hello,
Sorry,
initiate.
but I'm a little busy here. If you'll excuse me.
Hello. That guy was naked. That guy was naked. Why was he naked? I'm so confused. Why was he naked? Why was he naked? Wow. Okay, so we're going to the vaults now. Well, we should... Okay, you know what we should do? Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I guess we have to go to the Red Rock Canyon anyways. I think what we'll do is tomorrow's stream we will finish. We'll keep working on Brotherhood for now. Tomorrow's stream we'll finish Brotherhood, and then we can dedicate an entire stream to each of the rest of the factions. And, you know, in the process, we'll keep working on getting the science-y stuff done. We're not too far away from leveling. We could probably level up again this quest. Or this stream. Maybe. Maybe. It's a big maybe. Intelligence implant. Oh, you know what we should check? We should check for... Oh, wait, that's because of our perception, isn't it? Maybe if we have intelligence, our science stat goes up? Is that how that works? Hold on. Let's just pop a quick drug real quick. Where's Mentats? Pop a perk real quick. Okay. Oh. Oh, shit. Science does go up. Okay. And then that probably stacks with the other thing. So we might not even need to We might not even need to... Why is there so many? Are you seeing how many of these things there are? Oh, and the game crashed. What the heck is happening with the game? It's okay. At least that means, since the game crashed, that means that we don't have to worry about our mentats. So we get them back. The Twitch dashboard needs to be like... Is there a way to refresh the docs? Maybe not. No, it doesn't look like it. It looks like my dashboard's like, my dashboard's a bit, like, behind. It's looking like. But that's alright. Alright. Let's get the game back going. Let's get the game going again. Three crashes this stream. Wait, 3 or 4 actually. You know? That's always great. We love 3 or 4 crashes a stream. That's my favorite part of streaming, actually. Yes, continue the last save game. Okay. It's fine. That just means that our mentats are back. We don't even have to worry about it. Repcon headquarters is right there. South Vegas East entrance. Yeah, we'll go to those ones first. We'll go to the Vegas Vault first. The Vegas Vault. Go the Vegas Vault. Vegas Vault. Vegas Vault. Which is what direction? What direction is the Vegas Vault? Wait, what is it? Oh, that's Vault 11. Vault 11's closer. I guess we're going to Vault 11 first, actually. Yeah. We'll head on to... Yeah, because... Okay, what we'll do is we'll do all these vaults next stream. Next stream we'll finish all the vaults, but for now, let's go to the Vault 11. That seems to be the closest one, so that seems to be what we're gonna do. I think it's like loading zones and flipping around really quickly that makes the game crash. Oh no, the game's gonna have a problem when it's the ending. The game is gonna have a real big problem. The game's not gonna like it. Oh, also I have to get VODs uploaded. I have been, you know, doing stuff, definitely. Like I've been trying to get the VODs uploaded, but they keep like stalling out and just not doing it. I think it's because I tried to upload 2 at a time, and that's probably not a good idea. You can't blame me. Black coffee. Is there anything else of aid that like ups our intelligence? That minuses our intelligence. Mentats is intelligence. That's science. Scotch, of course, reduces. Yeah, no, it doesn't look like there's anything else that ups intelligence. What is that? Who are you? Oh, that's a plant. That's not a person. I thought that was a plant. I thought that was a person, but it's just a plant. Wow. Wow, am I dumb. I feel real dumb. What is that facility? Oh, wait, that's the Helios 1. Oh, we're getting close to Vault 11. Still this way. From your trusty Vault 13 canteen. the vaults can you actually go in? Like, how many of the vaults have a game? Like, there's a whole bunch, right? Well, Vault 111 is... Wait, is it Vault 111 or 110? That's in Fallout 3. I forget. Okay, we're at the start of the vault. Let's go. Vault 11. Oh, this is the door to Vault 11? Oh, it's like overrun. It's like bad. Oh, wow. Oh, what are those things? Giant mantis? Come on. Come on. Let's get out of here, man. Let's take care of these manti. Manti? Yeah, that's the plural for mantis, definitely. Bam! Big boom. Gets 4 big booms. Security recording, vault entrance. What? What? What does that do? I hear something. Oh, there's bad stuff in these vents. Metal box. Nuka-Cola? Metal box. What are you fighting? What do you see, boy? Oh, don't lock that. Don't lock us in here, please. No, please. Please. No. That's not cool. That's not cool. Let's open that up again, please. What was that? It's a giant rat. Oh, those sounds. Oh, I know what this vault is. Oh. I didn't know that this vault was in this game. We won't be finding any... We won't be finding any people in this vault. Oh. Oh, no. Oh. So, okay. Yeah. So, yeah, you can see this. You can see this. Haley is a known adulterer and communist and sympathizer. Elect Haley. That's because whoever gets elected for overseer gets sacrificed. So... this vault's whole story was kind of like, basically the main computer, when the vault was closed, was just like, oh yeah, the main computer was like, you have to sacrifice one person every so-and-so, every time, or like, you have to sacrifice a person to keep everyone in the vault okay, or else we'll flood the place with, everyone will die. Or something like that. And... Oh. What? I got a perk? Got a perk for killing bugs? Got a perk for killing bugs? Yeah, I do. So you know that there's the thing, right? So they just kept killing people, and there was like a huge war that broke out eventually. And then like 5 people were like, were left over, and they're like, we're just not gonna sacrifice. We'll let the thing kill me. And then at the end, the computer's like, oh, you didn't sacrifice someone? Cool, good job. And then they just let everyone out after everyone had already died to this tradition. So 4 of the people then just like went insane and killed themselves, and only 1 guy made it out. Oh. Congratulations! Your dedication to the democratic process is the bedrock upon which the continued stability of Vault 11 is based. Now, to help you make your decision for this year's election, the Coalition of Vault 11 voting blocks has put together this handy Dweller's official guide to obtaining overseers democratically, or DOGOOD. That contains a summary of the leading candidates for overseer, as well as their statements, key positions, and most importantly, endorsements. Sincerely, Roy Gottlieb, Chairman, Coalition of Vault 11 Voting Blocks, President, Justice Block. Candidate, Henry Glover. Endorsements, Utilitarian Block, Divine, Will Block, Allied Service Workers Block, and a devoted husband and father of 6 beautiful children. My oldest, Sam, was on the honor roll this quarter, and I couldn't be prouder of him. My youngest, Henry Jr., just said his first word, and it was Dada. We've got this bond already, and he's still just a baby. Friends, when you go to the polls this election, I want you to think of your own children. And I want you to think of Sam and Henry Jr. Picture their faces. Nate Stone should be overseer, not me. Oh, this is just people begging for their lives. I don't want to read all that. That's depressing. It's a lot of words. Too bad I'm not reading them. Oh. Amazing. I love how Eddie's just kind of taking care of business over there while I search around. He's such a good dog. Wait, what is this? Why did it have a loading zone? Oh, more Manti. Hi, Manti. Oh, a lot of Manti. Yeah, that's definitely the plural, and I'm 100% correct. Don't even worry, alright? I'm just gonna keep calling them that, even though I don't think it's correct. So, everyone should start calling them Manti plurally so that I'm not wrong anymore. Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's do that. Everyone, from here on out on the Beepo stream, the plural of mantis is Manti. Ooh, why did I not take the bottle cap? I'm so used to, like, just leaving something in. Open the door, please. What was that? I see you scurrying around. Can't escape me. Security. Overseers. Oh, hi! Hello! Oh, no. Hard terminal, hard door. Everything here is hard. Die! Die! Yay! There we go. Perfect. Yeah. There we go. Steam gauge assembly. I don't know why I grabbed that. That's not good. I don't need that. I ain't reading all that. Oh. Oh, wait, hold on. Pre-war money. Ammunition. Why is there missiles in a vault? Sounds like a bad idea. Oh, they're police batons. Oh, no. Oh, no. Were they shooting people? Oh, wait, this is security. Of course they were shooting people. Of course they were shooting people. Do you know what makes you special? I do. It's autism. I have pretty bad autism. That's a good clip. That's a good clip. I know I'm playing Fallout. That's not their slogan. There's a lot of slogans for Fallout. Do you know what makes you special? I do, actually. It's autism. I'm messing with you. I'm messing with you. I know. Okay, so you're talking about the special videos. Those were for Fallout 3 or 4. I think those were for Fallout 4. Those were promotional content for Fallout 4. There's a lot of things you could... Yeah, I love Fallout 4. Fallout 4 is the only other game that I've completed. I haven't completed this one yet, but we're on our way. We're on our way. I completed Fallout 4. I went with the Institute. I got the Institute ending, because war never changes. War's pretty similar to how it was originally. Oh, a Vault 11 jumpsuit. It's kind of cool. Oh, hi, bro. Oh, ah! I'm taking the jumpsuit with me. That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool to have, actually. I love Fallout 4. Fallout 4 is, like, I think, just for certain reasons, Fallout 4 is... Well, actually, no. After playing through this a lot, this might be my favorite one. At least narratively. It's just actually so much fun. So, I don't know. I haven't... Oh, wait, what? Recon armor helmet. Roy Gottlieb's terminal password. It's terminal. Hey, Eddie, can you carry some stuff for me, Eddie? Thank you, buddy. Why do I even have this? I've been forgetting to put stuff away. He can't carry that, can he? No, he cannot. Whoopsie. Sorry. Forgot. Eddie cannot... Oh. That's a bad. Ooh. That's a bad. You can't be having those. It's just more Vault 11. Do I even need to be, like, going through these anymore? Honestly, I should just be trying to get out. Elect Haley for Overseer. I hate Kate. Don't vote Glover. His family needs him. Amazing. I will not vote for Donald Glover. But I will vote for Childish Gambino. Two different people, don't worry. Oh, wow. Wow. They really like detergent in this room. Wow. What do I do here? Oh, wait. There's a map. There's a map. Vault 11. Vault 11 lower low. I'm in the living quarters. And there's stuff to find everywhere. Wait. That's the mail dorm. That's admin. Overseer's office. That's where we need to go. Yay! We're going to the office! Open door. Open sesame. Officer's office. Officer's office! Alright. Here's the... Oh, well. That's not very nice. Oh. There's, like, traps and stuff in here. That means that there's gotta be some... Oh. Uh-oh. Whoopsie. Oh. What else is there? What else is there in here? What else is in here? Anything good? Anything useful? Let me see, Overseer. Oh, there's a shit ton of cash. That's what you need as an Overseer, for sure. Hell yeah. Look, I'm the Overseer because I got this cash, alright? That's the only reason. They made me Overseer because I'm loaded, alright? Down this way. Down this way. Utility. Oh, that's probably where we need to go. We're trying to find parts. Door. Oh, owie. Oh! See that thing coming at us? Oh. My entire body is crippled. My entire body is crippled. It's okay. How many of my limbs have been broken and for how long? Missiles. Oh, what? Whoa. How did that hurt me so much? Why is there so much oh, there's another doctor's bag. That's actually very helpful. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate that. Oh, yeah, no, wait, no, I forgot. Yeah, there was a war in this one. There's just a war that happened in this vault. Okay, we gotta start speeding along here, because I wanted to... Wow, I swim really fast. Oh, wait, this is the room we were just in. Why'd I go underwater then? Stood no chance. Alright. You serve no purpose. You should die right now. Because you're a rat. What's in here? A reactor. Alright, man. Alright, man. You wanna go? You wanna go? You wanna go? You wanna go? No head. Damn. No head. The reactor. No head. No head. Bam! No head at all. So no head. It's average. Oh, that looks like a vault in the floor. I was like, oh, is that secrets? Is that secrets? No, no secrets. Was war in the reactor room? Oh shit, I can drink reactor water? Oh yeah. Wait, isn't there something in here that I need? Oh no. Oh, I died. Wait, it's gonna take us so far back. Oh no. No. Okay, so... Oh wait, is there even anything in here that I need? Yeah, there is. There is. There is, for sure. Okay, but at least we know now that there's a lot... Are you okay, Eddie? There's just a lot of war stuff that happened in this area. Yeah. So many. So many bombs immediately. Holy cow. There's so many bombs. So much pre-war money. Okay, it's time to just start running again. Just start running. If you just run by, the bombs can't get you. No cap, for real. Oh wow, what is this place? What is in here? Okay, I got a differential pressure control. Alright. I'm only here for that reason, so we're going back. We're leaving. We're running away. Okay, and then we gotta go up and out. We gotta go out. Hi, Eddie! Eddie was stuck back here because he's a robot. Right, alright. Vault 11 living quarters. Now we have to go to the other one, which is like a... Oh, it's back up to Vault 11. What is in there? What's in here? Oh, it's locked. Of course it is. Best thing in life are locked. The best thing in life? The best thing in life. I'm gonna save here real quick. Just to make sure we don't lose tons of time again. That's the male dorm. Up this way must be to Vault 11 then. Common room. Yeah, here's Vault 11. Okay, what are we looking for in here? Oh, the Mojave Wasteland. Oh. Oh, I guess that's the only thing we needed from here was the differential device. Alright, we can get the fuck out of here. Oh. Creepy. Creepy GP place. Creepy dreepy place. Don't like it. Creepy dreepy. Where am I? Where are we going? I'm trying to get out, not in. I'm trying to get out. Trying to get out. I think it just... If we just keep going up, we'll get out eventually. Oh, there we are. Okay. Oh. Don't like it. I don't like the cramped spaces. I much prefer, like, the stuff that you get to explore while out here. Something attacking us, Eddie? That is a giant spider over there. Let's go fuck with it. Let's go mess with that spider. Oh, it's a fire ant. That's not that big of a deal. No head. Yeah, baby. No head. What is in this thing? El Dorado Dry Lake. Oh, I see. Okay. Oh, it's a bunch of motorcycle parts. Huh. There's more fire ants. Wham, 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 oh, they spew fire. That's crazy. Worker ants. Are they fighting each other? What? Oh, they hate each other. We'll leave them to their, we'll leave them to their own devices. Everything seems to have like an intelligence buff, like or debuff. Like this nectar here. This is a huge debuff. What else is there in this dry lake? Is there just ants to kill? Is that like the whole lake? Is it just ants? I'm getting antsy. Spend the last 10 minutes of stream fighting ants. This is the I fuck with ants tier that Relax was talking about. Jalapeno. Yay! Oh, there's actual stuff over here. This is my favorite part of the game, when you're not like trying to go do something, you're just kind of wandering around. That's like the best part of the game. I think I know where we are though. Yeah. What's it called? Yeah, well, of course I know. We're next to Helios 1, which means that over there is Novak. And this is the way to the strip. You just keep walking this way. Boulder City? What's Boulder City? I should know what oh, I know what Boulder City is. Never mind. That's the spot that Benny's at. Benny. You know what? I think we'll just keep shooting ants. Well, I mean, is there anything actually here? Where haven't we explored on the map? A lot of stuff this way. There's a lot of stuff this way, actually. Now that I'm looking at everything, there's not much space that we can just go explore in. I kind of know where everything is now. That's kind of saddening. I guess you can just, like, walk along everywhere. Just start heading a direction. That's what we're gonna do for the rest of the stream, is we're just gonna start exploring, because we don't have enough time to do any, like, other major quests or anything. And I know that, like, it's up to me how long the stream goes, but I want consistency. And I have some people I need to call, so I'm just gonna, you know, do the time that I promise you guys, and then I want to schedule stuff beforehand. I don't want to, like, go too off the rails. Next week I've scheduled a collab with a few friends, so that's gonna be cool to do. I'm really looking forward to that. That's something I'm really looking forward to. Oh, thank God, no invisible walls. Ooh, is that the dam? Is that Hoover Dam? That is Hoover Dam. Damn! 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 Alrighty. Alrighty. Let's go see it. Let's go see. Let's see, yeah. We're at the dam. Damn! Oh, wait. Since we're here, we can go to Ranger Station Delta, which is literally right below us. We have to go, give them a, give them a thing. Hey, guys.
We won't go quietly. The Legion can count on that.
Yeah.
When I got this assignment, I was hoping there'd be more gambling.
Hello.
I'm not supposed to let civilians just walk around the... Very well. You can tell Reyes that this station is secure.
Okay.
Sir.
Do I ever get, like, how much do I have to help them to get the, how much do I have to help them to get the... I can't even think. I can't even think of what I'm supposed to say.
When I got this assignment,
this armor.
I was hoping there'd be more gambling.
I want this armor. What other ranger stations was I supposed to go to? All these ones. Oh, shit. Oh, a bunch of stuff. Go this way. We have 5 minutes. Well, okay. We'll travel here. We can go to Clark Field. Oh, wow. I forgot where Clark Field was. I forgot what Clark Field was. Whoopsie. This is the place where we had to fight the NCR, the first ambush they made on us. Not the NCR, the Legion. The Legion. Region. Lizard League. That's what we're fighting right now. Come on! Gecko! These geckos really don't like, us. Oh, hey. We leveled! Okay. We're gonna extend stream, maybe. Get science up to 50. Or that works too. Yes. You know what? Fuck it. We'll just get it up to 50. Yeah. I don't know. Just put it up to 50. That lets us open the advanced terminals as well. Okay. It is time to go and finish RepCon, like we said we were gonna do. The Let's Fly With Me quest. Come fly with me, come fly, let's fly away. Also, we know how to get to the facility now, so we don't even have to worry. No worries about a thing. No worries about anything, honestly. Okay. We'll just head through here. Yep. Ugh. You know, it's still annoying, but less so now that I kind of know. Oh, wait. Did we not, like, fully go through here? I wasn't paying attention. It's right here. Oh, there's another safe. Ooh. Slowly. Okay. So it's what the fuck? It was just literally, you didn't have to do anything. Oh, there's another lock. Yay. It's like not hard at all. Oh, first aid. Dang it. I always get excited when it's a first aid, because, like, you know, I need that stuff. Oh, wait, plasma defender. How much is that? Wait, only 2? I'll sell it later. I need money. I thought that we had a bunch of money, but apparently we didn't. This sucked. We need to go this way. In here. Yeah, up this way. We're gonna go... I'm gonna go deal with their science stuff. Okay. We know what to do. We know how to help. All right. We know how to science. Well, we accidentally used a Mentats, but that's okay. Where's the science? Where's the science? Give us the science. Where's my science? Where's my science? There it is. Make the change. Okay. Let's get them going. Yes. Go. Go on. Yes. Oh wait, did one of them crash? Did they make it? Did they make it? Yes! Oh! They did it! Those beautiful bastards! They did it! Hi, Sky. You came right at the end of the stream. But they did it. They made it to space. They made it to space. Oh, okay. Did we get flight of the thing? Yeah, we did it. We did it. Yeah. Just come fly with me, I think. Yeah, right there. Ah, we did it. We did it. Fly to the bumblebee. Ah. That just makes me happy. They did. They played Among the Stars, and they're gonna learn. They're gonna fucking learn what it's like on Jupiter and Mars. Let me tell you, all right. They're gonna have to learn and learn quick. And the game crashed. The game crashed right as stream ends. Oh, let's go. The game crashed. Yippee. Well, I think that's just, you know, my PC telling me it's time to wrap things up for today. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I have some people I gotta call, and I'm probably just gonna mess around for the rest of today. But I'll probably be on Twitter or something. I gotta post some things today. I haven't really posted anything. But thank you guys for tuning in. Our last stream of the week is tomorrow, Friday, and that'll be officially the end of the first like scheduled week. You know, we'll have like I said, we have collabs scheduled next week, so that's pretty cool. And I'm gonna see if I can schedule some other stuff so that it's not just Fallout. But like I said, tomorrow we will finish those vaults and see if we can get those vaults done to get the Brotherhood questline done. And then I think after we have the Brotherhood, Coal Aberration? Coal Aberration? What does aberration mean? Isn't that like a vision? Isn't an aberration like a vision? Collaboration. Oh, okay, yeah. Coal aberration. POV, you're a child in the 50s. Is that coal? No, you're just going crazy. Collaboration. Yeah. We're very, very, very excited for that. No, it's alright. It's alright. Just like coal aberration is a funny line. The coal aberration. You're tricking yourself into thinking that you're seeing coal, but you're not. You're not. Entity of fuel. Absolutely. What we need here on the Beepo stream. Alright, I'll see you later, everybody. Take care.